The Broken Blueprint, Part 3, Events from 1977 to 1990. 1977, Veterans Hospital built. On September 25, 1977, a massive 500-bed Veterans Hospital was dedicated in Loma Linda. The hospital is located on a 34-acre site approximately 1/2 mile east of LLU. It serves over 300,000 veterans. The world not only dictates how Loma Linda operates, it has moved into Loma Linda, and the university has helped the new arrivals to move in. This hospital would not have been erected here except for the interest of the university and the Loma Linda community. Loma Linda University has given us the land on which to erect our structure. John D. Chase, MD, Chief Medical Director for the Veterans Administration, addressed at the LLU School of Medicine commencement service on May 29, 1977. Entire address printed in University Scope, summer 1977. During the declaration ceremonies of this gigantic hospital, United States Senator Alan Cranston told the audience of 4,500, "The structure you see here today is not only the most modern veterans hospital in America, but one of the most sophisticated hospitals in the world." Sun Telegram, September 26, 1977. 1985, New Age Seminars at LLU. In March 1985, the Loma Linda Medical Center sponsored the New Age Thinking Seminars at the school, under the direction of non-Adventist Lou Tice. Those who attended were told they needed to harness their spirit power and be constructive wizards. "You know, I have the power invested in me," Tice said. "You can have it too." The sessions ran from April through May and provided those enrolled with 20 hours of nursing credit at LLU. Tice even spoke in the pulpit during Sabbath morning church service, advertising his wares, the New Age Seminars at Loma Linda, WM 107. By 1986, hydrotherapy is gone. With the passing of time, the AMA became increasingly embarrassed by the existence of hydrotherapy treatments. They were simply too effective in the healing of a variety of diseases. If people learned about them, the use of drug medications would be greatly reduced, and the AMA would not receive its kickbacks from the drug cartels. Over the years, the name of the process was changed to physiotherapy, and hydrotherapy was banned by the AMA from the required medical training. It was only approved as a non-medical aid in helping rehabilitation patients learn how to use their limbs again. At Loma Linda, it was located in the School of Physical Therapy. It was downgraded in 1966 to a section of the newly formed School of Allied Health Professions. In 1986, in the process of writing his water therapy manual, the present writer phoned Loma Linda University and asked for the physiotherapy department. Upon inquiry, he learned there was no longer any instruction in hydrotherapy in the entire university. Placing another call, he spoke with the LLU bookstore and was told that Abbott's important hydrotherapy book was no longer printed, neither by the denomination nor by LLU, and it did not have a hydrotherapy book on the premises and had not sold one in years. Fortunately, the present writer already had a personal copy of Abbott's book, plus several others, including Kellogg's mammoth book on the subject. You can purchase a copy of our very complete water therapy manual from the publisher of this book. You may have wondered why our denominational publishing houses never print books or magazine articles recommending hydrotherapy, natural remedies, or even vitamins. Unfortunately, they are also locked into the system. If they did otherwise, Loma Linda's accreditation rating could be downgraded. There is no other explanation for the strange silence, which has continued since the 1950s. Our concern here has primarily been the terrible cost in diluted teachings and resultant lowered standards, but constantly trying to meet accreditation demands and paying teachers to get their doctorates has also cost the church a lot of money. But the excuse given for the high tuition costs is sophisticated instruction and modernization. Why does Christian college education cost so much? Because the degree of sophistication required in education today makes costs increase. The bottom line on the cost of Christian education in La Sierra today, fall 1978. 1984. Animal heart into a human baby. An international storm of protest from physicians throughout the world arose when Loma Linda put the heart of a baboon into a human child on October 26, 1984. The following article appeared in Far Off Laconia, New Hampshire, and is representative of press reports around the world. The operation fails to meet the basic requirements of experimental operations established for the world at the Nuremberg war crimes trials in 1945 to 1946. Dr. Donald Carey raised the question that the Loma Linda University Medical Center Review Committee, charged with assessing whether or not the operation should be approved, could have been pressured by a desire to gain national recognition. Before this operation, no one ever heard of them before, he said. Lakes Region Trader, November 28, 1984. It is of interest that a human heart could have been transplanted into the infant with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, anonymously known as Baby Faye, but Bailey decided to use an ape heart instead. One of the largest newspapers on the West Coast, the Los Angeles Times, in discussing the matter, significantly noted that part of the reason Loma Linda does such strange things is because their reporter was told by the 1980s. For the first time in Adventism's history, a whole generation of scholars with doctorates from secular universities became active in church institutions. Adventists see no conflict of belief in Baby Faye case. Los Angeles Times, November 10, 1984. Well, that is telling it plainly. A significant part of the problem is the doctorates from the secular universities. The article added that there were so many halfway evolutionists among Adventists now that their physicians did not mind putting ape hearts in human beings. A creationism versus evolution debate has come into the open recently in the church, an indication in one sense of how medical training could proceed on a pragmatic level while religious ideology remained in the hands of pastors and church theologians. I would say a majority of Adventist scientists would have difficulty accepting at face value the church's traditional seven-day creation occurring 6,000 years ago, said James Walters, assistant professor of Christian ethics at Loma Linda University. Adventists see no conflict of belief in Baby Faye case, Los Angeles Times, November 10, 1984. 1988. Harvesting live organs. But a little over 3 years later, medical ethicists were once again shocked. The January 1996 issue of Rutherford, the Journal of the Rutherford Institute, included an article which discussed how the Chinese eat babies and Loma Linda Medical Center harvests organs from living babies, which in the process kills them. Percy Magan would never have believed it. Harvesting Organs, WM 839. One of the most controversial programs of the 1980s was that of Loma Linda University Medical Center, which chose to harvest the organs of live infants with some or most of their brains missing. The harvesting did, of course, cause the death of such infants, but since these infants did not, in Loma Linda's opinion, qualify for personhood, their organs were considered fair game. In 1988, the university gave up the program, but not for moral reasons. The transplants didn't work. Rutherford, January 1996. These were anencephalic babies, kept alive till LLU surgeons decided to kill them and get their organs. Here are excerpts from 3 articles in 1988 regarding what Loma Linda was doing. The large majority of physicians and medical ethicists firmly and rightly oppose prematurely ending the anencephalic's life in order to use its organs. Christianity Today, March 18, 1988. The surgeons at Loma Linda are not merely content to use as organ donors Anencephalic victims of a fatal auto accident, a typical scenario for most other kinds of organ donations, led by Leonard Bailey, MD, who has gained national attention by implanting the heart of a baboon called Goobers into the chest of a baby named Faye. These physicians would use respirators to artificially maintain the lives of anencephalic newborns for the express purpose of waiting to declare the infants brain dead and then using them as organ donors. There is something chilling about the doings at this medical center. Loma Linda was going to maintain these infants as living organ supply lockers. The disturbing part of the latest news from Loma Linda, as with the Baby Faye affair, is not so much what is being done, but rather how it is being done. Once again, physicians at that medical center have decided not to wait for the outcome of a national ethical debate and are instead charging headlong into their vision of the future, into bioemporium. We are seeing them, the babies, being regarded as particularly convenient forms of organic repair kits. Health, March 1988. It is to no one's benefit, especially those in need of organs, that transplant specialists appear to be manipulating brain death criteria in order to secure a steadier supply of infant organs. Manipulating Death, Commonweal, January 15, 1988. 1990. Majority of CME students are not Adventists. According to a report leaked in 1992, most of the students now attending Loma Linda University are non-Adventists. Did we go through all this misery, diluting all our colleges and universities with doctoral professors trained in outside schools, just to help non-Adventists become nurses, dentists, and medical doctors? The problem is the extremely high expenses. The accreditation agencies have placed so many requirements on the school for so many decades, which increase every year, that few can any longer afford to attend Loma Linda. A percentage of the world budget, the offerings we place in the basket each Sabbath, plus charges to students, must meet those heavy expenses. The tuition and other charges are so high that only non-Adventists and the wealthiest among us are able to afford to send their sons and daughters through the school. Our emerging non-Adventist medical school, WM, pages 427 to 428. The percentage of non-Adventists steadily increased all through the 1980s. As of the end of the 1990 school year, the School of Medicine was the only one of the 5 that had a majority of Adventist students. Here are the figures. Allied Health, 1985 to 1986, 122 SDA, 81 non-SDA. 1989 to 1990, 122 SDA, 128 non-SDA. Dentistry, 1985 to 1986, 65 SDA, 14 non-SDA. 1989 to 1990, 32 SDA, 47 non-SDA. Medicine, 1985 to 1986, 128 SDA, 12 non-SDA. 1989 to 1990, 103 SDA, 26 non-SDA. Nursing, 1985 to 1986, 119 SDA, 21 non-SDA. 1989 to 1990, 23 SDA, 83 non-SDA. Public Health, 1985 to 1986, 127 SDA, 60 non-SDA. 1989 to 1990, 41 SDA, 68 non-SDA. The totals. By 1990, Loma Linda University had 321 Adventists and 352 non-Adventists in its 5 schools. 1915 Statement by Percy Megan. In order to help us better see the picture of what we have lost, let us return to 1915, only 9 months after Percy Megan graduated from the Vanderbilt Medical School in Nashville, Tennessee. In that year, he wrote the following letter to W.C. White. Brother White, my old teachers in Vanderbilt, men who have been physicians for years, are coming to me at Madison with their own personal cases and asking me to prescribe for them the ills of their bodies. which they know they have brought upon themselves by their own bad habits of living. I have had some 3 different cases of this kind already. When I remonstrate with them and tell them how little I know and that they, having been my teachers, how reticent I feel about saying anything, they frankly tell me that they know we have the light on these lines far in excess of theirs. Megan to W.C. White, March 3, 1915. How much have we lost? It cannot be measured. What we lost in the passing years, not even our learned professors at Loma Linda today have the slightest inkling. They don't even have hydrotherapy books in their students' bookstores anymore. The last class in hydrotherapy was stopped in the 1970s. Instead, the students are taught how to work with drugs, saws, knives, electrical equipment, and radiation machines. How kind it was that God laid Ellen White to rest in 1915, so she did not have to see what followed.